Peace. What's up, everybody? For those of you who are going to be tuning in on the playback, thank you for tuning in. This is Ron, and welcome to another live edition of Ron's Library and Ideas. While we wait for some people to come on in the room, why don't you take a listen to some music that I made? Hopefully, it comes through pretty clear on this. And welcome to the new year. Hello, thank you for tuning in. Welcome to Ron's Library and Ideas, the live edition. Just wait for some people to get in the room. Enjoy some music that I made. All right. All right, tonight we are going to be speaking about the multiverse. The multiverse is now. You are a multiversal person. Hello to everybody tuning in. Hopefully the music isn't too loud in the background. I think I'm gonna turn this off in a second. Make sure you guys hit the like button on your way in. And welcome to the new year. Welcome to 2025. There's been a lot of interesting things going on, and I think all the stuff that we see happening, it's all connected. So anyway, how was y'all New Year's? Mine was pretty good. I went out on a boat on the St. Johns River in Jacksonville, Florida. Had a great time. Watched some fireworks out there. It was just a good vibe. Everything was going well until it was time for me to get off the boat. Now we made it back to the dock after the battery died on the boat for a little bit. So it was almost like we were about to be stuck out there for a second. But we chilled for a while, smoked a cigar, we talked, and then the guys who boat us was, his lady said, why don't you try it one more time? So he turned it on, boat turned on, we was able to make it back to shore. We were about 2 miles out. Got back to the dock, so I hopped off the boat, and then my phone hopped out of my pocket into the St. Johns River. So I started off my 2025 with a donation of an iPhone to the bottom of the St. Johns River. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. Oh, wow. It's amazing how big of a difference these glasses make. I can see all this now. You don't celebrate New Year's? Okay. Do you want me to donate $500? If you got it, I would love to. I can see that. So again, we're talking about the multiverse is now. Did you guys see where the CIA came out and admitted and was like, well, the multiverse is real? And I thought that was interesting that they would admit that, and then either following that or right before that, we started seeing a lot of movies about the multiverse. Off the top of my head, the same summer, you had uh, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. You had Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Um, you had Spider-Man Enter the Spider-Verse. All these were movies about multiverse, right? And what's interesting is that it's not just the CIA where you can find this information. Uh, I talked about a book the other night, Seth Speaks, The Eternal Validity of the Soul. And in it, there's a chapter where he speaks about the different versions of you that are existing right now. For example, if you, for every choice that you make, there's a version of yourself that made the opposite choice. Like right now for myself, I decided to get on my YouTube and go live. Well, there's a version of me that didn't go live. He decided to go to sleep or get in bed with his lady and do whatever. And that reality is playing out right now. So you have yourself existing in all these different realities, having experiences. And something that they said in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, when you dream, that's you getting a glimpse into your other selves, right? Now, while they're existing, you're dreaming and you're viewing the different versions of yourself. And that is like the butterfly effect. Every small choice leads to something else, a alternate choice, an alternate reality. And I think that's fascinating. Now, one of the things that sticks out to me is that we know that it is your thoughts that help to form and create reality. The people who rule the world, they know that as well. So what they try to do is to get your attention focused on things that are negative to help influence the reality to be a little bit more negative. But evil cannot triumph over good. It may seem like it's winning for a time, but ultimately, the positive side, the good side, has to win out. Now, for example, let's take a look at these events that we've seen play out over the past couple of days. The one that comes to mind first is what happened in New Orleans. This guy gets in his truck, drives through a crowd of people down in New Orleans on, let's see, Canal and Bourbon Street. I think he killed like 10 or 15 people, wounded a whole lot of others, and he wound up getting killed at the end. That's been blaring on the news off and on all day. You got this weird fog that's rolling in all these different places throughout the country and people getting sick afterwards. You got these drones being spotted up in New Jersey. Nobody knows what that's about. What else? China's having some other type of event going on to where there's like, uh-oh, it might be another, you know, shot situation. All this is going on, and it's all to get you to be worried about it. Because the more you worry about it, the easier it is for that type of event to play out in your life or to play out in this reality. Thoughts shape reality. And if they can control what you think about, well, then they have a greater chance of controlling the reality. Let me read some of these comments. Thank you. Somebody said I really be speaking facts. I appreciate that. Let's see. Do you know anything about the forbidden game Legend of Polybus? No, I've never heard of that. You have to. I have to Google that, or you have to let me know. Like I said, they know if they can control what you think about, they can control the reality. They want you to be worried. They want you to be upset at what the people are doing. You seen the new Cybertruck commercial? It'll blow your mind. That's something else that happened. Cybertruck blew up outside the Trump Tower in what was it, Las Vegas. A lot of things are happening, and it's all to get you worried. But this is something also to know, not even believe, but know. God is always in control. Now that may come off as being like extra religious, but God is bigger than any box that any religion tries to fit it inside of. You know, these rules that they say, well, no, this is God or this is God. He's bigger than all of that. And he's always in control, or it's always in control. So do your best not to worry. Um, Also, with all these movies coming out that was speaking about the multiverse, Hollywood does this on purpose. You probably heard of the term predictive programming. They show it to you in the movie first, and then you see it play out in reality. Well, check this out. Where is? All right. This is from Brother Panic's books, The Origins of Occult Civilization, Volume 1, Hollywood. And this speaks about how Hollywood is used to influence the minds of the people. Let's see. Ritual practices of any sort are used for mundane, everyday events like brushing your teeth, or on the more advanced side, in Hollywood, movies released worldwide for control, manipulation, and social engineering of the masses. If we now know we can train the mind with repetition, stereotype, visualization, sound, or emotion, and these things fall under the definition of programming, we can then say certain actions can be repeated in movies for controlling our minds. It is not an accident that we keep seeing all this stuff play out. And all right, something else that he continues with. Group ritual is basically the idea that the more people you have, the more power in the ritual. For faster results, the group dynamic will be needed because the physical result you desire needs more energy than the individual can provide by himself. The group adds strength. So again, you wonder why we see all these events play out in the media and they replay it over and over and over again. In my opinion, that's them trying to program us to see things as being so bad and so negative. That idea of having like a victim mindset. They want to play themselves up as being all powerful and you as being like the little guy. Well, no, you can't fight against that. But like I said, just with the power of our thoughts, we can change reality. We can think these people or these systems out of existence. Let's see. So now that we understand the basic definition of ritual, let's relate ritual to Hollywood and how we are manipulated by way of media through repetition. As discussed, ritual is used to line you up with an energetic frequency, which then becomes your agreed reality. They have an idea, they have a goal that they want to see play out. So they'll show it to you in a movie over and over again. That's why you get two types of the same movie. It's not an accident that we got everything everywhere all at once in the same summer that we got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's reinforcing the idea. Because if you're not into comic book movies, if you're not into Doctor Strange, well, you're not going to go and watch it. But you may be the type of person that's into something that's artsy, that's new. So you'll go and see everything everywhere all at once. That's them trying to cover all their bases. They want you to watch all of that. That's programming. Disney, somebody said, Disney programmed me to think I would have a fairy tale life, but Diddy taught me that I should never meet my heroes. My butt still hurts. Sorry that happened to you. Oh man, that's crazy the things people say. Uh, so let's go to Seth Speaks the Internal Validity of the Soul. And again, I give you these different sources, uh, so that you know this is just not me saying this stuff. I'm not just pulling this out of thin air. Let's see if I can find it. No, I should have had this highlighted. Okay, check this out. This is from Steph Speaks. He said, "You are learning to be co creators. You are learning to be gods as you now understand the term. You are learning responsibility, the responsibility of any individualized consciousness. You are learning to handle the energy that is yourself for creative purposes." Um, and what's interesting, I don't know if I can find the part where it speaks about this, but he says in this book that Earth is a training ground where you learn to train your mind because it takes things longer to appear in the physical than what it does once you move beyond the physical to the astral realm and to the worlds beyond. You think a thought and it appears instantly. So if you're not in control of your mind and you go up there and you think about something, you can create something very bad for yourself very quickly. A perfect example of that is the movie Sphere. It's based on the Michael Crichton book of the same name. Now, in this book or in this movie, you had Dustin Hoffman, Samuel Jackson, Queen Latifah's in the movie as well. But anyway, this object, they find this object in a ship at the bottom of the ocean. And what they realize, if you go inside that object, which is a perfect sphere, you gain the ability to create what's in your subconscious mind. Now, because these people weren't trained and they didn't know what was happening at first, they were bringing all their fears to the physical. So, like, let's see, Samuel Jackson's character was afraid of a giant sea monster, so he made a sea monster appear. Uh, One of the characters was afraid of poisonous jellyfish, so that's what she made appear. And I think that movie is a perfect example of how you have to learn how to control your mind before you make it past this place. You know, if I tell you, hey, don't think about pink elephants, well, the first thing that comes into mind is a pink elephant. Um, okay, somebody just asked the question, how do we train our minds? One of the ways that you can do it is through meditation and by focusing on a single thought. Uh, do you ever find yourself doing an activity and zoning out? I find myself doing that when I'm creating music. So, like when I'm going through the process of creating something like this, my mind is focused just on that. I'm in the zone. But in a meditative sense, the way you can do that is you want to get all four of your you want to get your senses involved, right? So if you close your eyes and you visualize like an orange, you can see an orange in your mind's eye. You know what an orange smells like when you peel it. uh, you know what an orange tastes like. You know what an orange feels like. You can almost hear that sound it makes when you bite into it, right? So you can close your eyes and just focus on just that orange and get all of your senses involved. And you want to do that to the point to where all your focus and all your attention is on that orange. That's one way. And you just build up from there. When you go to sleep tonight, one of the ways you can help control your dream, focus on what you want to dream about and get your five senses involved. One of the things that I would do, I would picture myself on a beach with black sand, clear blue water, the sun shining down. I can feel the sun on my skin and I'm floating. I'm like cross-legged and I'm floating in the air and I can feel myself floating as well. Then I'll go to sleep and find myself in that dream. It's one of the things you can try. Let's see. There's something in here that I wanted you guys to hear. Um, okay, so again, this is what's going on, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Somebody says or tinfoil hat. I don't know what he means by that. But if you're talking about that movie, damn, it was a M Night Shyamalan movie. They say jokingly, "Oh, you got your tinfoil hat on," but in the movie, the guys who were putting on the tinfoil hat, they were right. They were protecting themselves. Um, okay, thanks for tuning into my live stream, man. I appreciate you tuning in. We're talking about the multiversal you. There's different versions of you existing simultaneously. Um, all right, so check this out. Um, there was a movie with Jet Li that came out called The One, and this came out after The Matrix. But in this movie, there's a multiverse, and there's all these different versions of Jet Li. Well, one version of Jet Li found out that if you kill or if another one of your multiversal selves dies, the energy from that one spreads throughout all the other ones. So his goal was to, well, I'm going to kill every other version of me so all that power comes into me. What it came down to was like a good Jet Li and the bad Jet Li. And the good Jet Li was trying to stop that from happening. Very good movie. Came out in the early 2000s. You should check it out. Going back and looking at it, I was surprised to see the guy who plays Hank Schrader in Breaking Bad. He's in that movie. Um, he plays like a cop that's transporting one version of Jet Li to like a different prison. Anyway, uh, all those different versions of you, you have access to that according to Seth. You can tap into their wisdom. I think that's pretty exciting. If you have all these different versions of you who have all these varied experiences and knowledge, and you could consciously tap into that, that will make you a very formidable person. You can create whatever kind of reality down here that you want. The thing that I question is who's the prime personality? Like, am I Ronald Simmons, number one? Like, I'm the prime Ronald Simmons, or I'm just a version of a different guy? Who's to say? Let's see. Now, in this chapter, Seth is talking about reincarnation or coming down and doing life again as a different version of yourself. And he says, progress has nothing to do with time, you see, but with psychic and spiritual focus. Each play is entirely different from any other, the play being your life. It is not correct, therefore, to suppose that your actions in this life are caused by a previous existence or that you are being punished in this life for crimes in the past one. The lives are simultaneous. Remember what I said earlier if you were here. All these things are happening right now. All time is unfolding right now. This idea of us viewing things as progressing from past to present to future, well, it's all simultaneous. Like the different versions of you, they're already out there, and which one that you get to see depends on what you put your focus on. I do believe we have variants existing in different realities. I agree. And we've seen that play out in so many different movies, even the idea of variants. Oh snap! That was in Loki. Loki was about that. That TV series on Disney. They were trying to stop different variants from doing things so they could get just one time stream. And Kane came in and was like, yeah, Kane was trying to make that one time stream. I'm gonna have to go through and like really write that down and break that series down. Okay, check this out. Your own multi-dimensional personality is so endowed that it can have these experiences and still retain its identity. It is, of course, affected by the various plays in which you take part. There is instant communication and an instant, if you prefer, feedback system. These plays are hardly without purpose. In them, the multidimensional personality learns through its own actions. It tries out an endless variety of poses, behavior patterns, attitudes, and changes others as a result. Hmm. You are the multidimensional self who has these existences, who creates and takes part in these cosmic passion plays, so to speak. Hmm. This does not mean that the play is not real or that it should not be taken seriously. It does mean playing a role, an important one. Each actor must of himself realize, however, the nature of the production and his part in it. He must actualize himself out of the three-dimensional confines of the play's setting. Yo, this is fascinating. Hmm. Check this out. What else he says? And this chapter is called The Death Experience. There is no separate, individual, specific point of death. Life is a state of becoming, and death is a part of this process of becoming. You are alive now, a consciousness knowing itself, sparkling with cognition amid the debris of dead and dying cells. Alive while the atoms and molecules of your body die and are reborn. You are alive, therefore, in the midst of small deaths. Portions of your own image crumble away moment by moment and are replaced, and you scarcely give the matter a thought. So, you are to some extent now alive in the midst of the death of yourself. That's something else that I know, that if you can control where a person believes they go after they die, well, then you can control what they're going to do while they're on the planet. That's something that the Roman Catholic Church figured out a long time ago. Physical existence is one way in which the soul chooses to experience its own actuality. The soul, in other words, has created a world for you to inhabit, to change, a complete sphere of activity in which new developments and indeed new forms of consciousness can emerge. In a matter of speaking, you continually create your soul as it continually creates you. There's so much in this book that we can go through that just speaks to this idea that you are not just this physical body. And I feel that is important because, like I said, if you look at the news, if you pay attention to what's going on for the most part on social media, it's a bunch of, in my opinion, mundane things. Now, I know enough to understand that while it may be mundane to me, that's the life path that I'm on. That kind of stuff doesn't really interest me. But to somebody, they may have come down here exactly for that purpose, to experience that mundane reality, well, what I consider to be a mundane reality. Like the drug addict out on the street corner. That's what his soul chose to come down here to experience for whatever reason. And you don't have to understand. The only person that has to understand it is that person experiencing it. I think what our duty is to understand that everyone's path is their own. Now you do what you can to help people if you choose to. But like I said, everyone's path is their own. Check this out. This is after death choices and the mechanics of transition. There are unlimited varieties of experience open to you after death, all possible, but some less probable than others according to your development. Again, like I said, Earth is like a training ground. We like watching, well, I like watching training montages in movies. You like to see how the hero is getting himself ready, but in a sense, in a very real sense, you're going through your own training montage right now. And it's all in preparation, for the experiences you're going to have down here. And once you move beyond this place, there's more to life than just this. Your life doesn't end when the physical parts of you ends. I've had dreams about my grandparents who have passed away. They come to me, and the first time I dreamed about my grandmother, I was so happy to see her. I was like crying in the dream. And then even when I woke up, I had like tears in my eye. It was just so good to see and feel her presence again. Listen to this. You may decide upon another reincarnation. You may decide to focus instead upon your past life, using it as the stuff of new experience. As mentioned previously, creating variations of events as you have known them, making corrections as you choose. Or you may enter another system of probability entirely, and this is quite apart from a reincarnational existence. Think about when you playing a video game, you get to the end of the game, and it's like, you know what? I don't want to go back and do that again, but I'm going to try it, and I'm going to play it a different way. Think about a game like Red Dead Redemption, the one that came out on PlayStation 5. You can make choices in that game to whether you're going to play as a good character or a bad character. Same thing happens with your life. Like I remember the first time I was playing through that game, and I was robbing people in the video game, right? It was like a posse, motherfuckers on horses, and guns came chasing after me. Those were like the police. Just interesting. You have choices that you can make down here about your life. What do you want it to be? And the media can influence what you're going to do. I've been watching these Thomas Sowell interviews, and I agree with some things that he says. There are other things I don't agree with, where I feel like he doesn't have, or he's not taking into account the full picture. But he was talking about black culture, and specifically talking about, I guess, hip hop culture, what he deems to be hip hop culture, and how it's holding black people back. I fully believe in the sentiment that life imitates art and art imitates life. So the people that we look up to as heroes that we see in the media, so like we've been given, the black community, we've been given, our heroes are supposed to be athletes, rappers, comedians, entertainers, not intellectuals in a sense. We really don't see them pushed to the forefront. Not scientists, not doctors, not lawyers. The ones who get all the publicity, the attention, and all the women, or the lifestyle that seems to be the most fun, is in a very limited scene. So if you see your favorite rapper doing something, chances are high that you may imitate that, especially if you see your peers doing the same thing. As you become more aware of your own subjective reality, you will therefore become familiar with greater portions of your own soul. When you think of the soul as a closed system, you perceive it as such and close off from yourself the knowledge of its greater creativity and characteristics. You got to understand that you have a higher self, and that higher self gives you information. You just have to know how to listen for it. Each of you are involved in the same kind of relationships, whether or not you are aware of them. Though it seems to you that reincarnational existences involve past and future events, they are existences parallel or adjacent to your own present life and consciousness. The answers to the nature of reality, the intimate knowledge of all that it is that you all seek, is within your present experience. It will not be found outside of yourselves, but through an inner journey into yourself, and through the world that you know. You have to seek the answers on the inside of yourself. You know, I talk to you guys and I read these books, uh, and it's really just to convince the ego of what my soul already knows. So like the ego, there's much that my ego is unaware of. That is ignorant of. I read and research and experience things so I can whittle down at that ignorance. Let's see. The name of this book is Seth Speaks: The Internal Validity of the Soul by Jane Roberts. It's called Seth Speaks because she channels an entity named Seth, and this is information that he's pulling out. Okay. Something else that I think is important that Bobby Hemmett and Brother Panic pointed out to me. The ancient Egyptians, the ancient Kemites, they knew that we were going to fall into a period of not knowing who we are or where we come from, or just understanding, beyond reality. They knew this was going to happen, so they started leaving behind information for us. And the thing that they thought was the most important for us to know was how to die and not have to come back. These emotional ties that we develop while we're down here by thinking this is so real, and dying and thinking, oh man, there was more things that I needed to do. Like I'm not quite done yet. That's the kind of thing that makes you have that reincarnation or that reincarceration. Because you are a multi-dimensional being, you can tap into the wisdom that comes from your multi-dimensional self and get the type of reality that you want down here. Our goal, or the goal should be, is to take that power back from anything that's outside of you. Anything that's trying to influence you to be fearful, to be hateful, to be envious, to be lustful. These type of things as a whole is going to make us create a reality down here that's not going to be pleasant. So don't let them win. When you see this kind of stuff happening in reality, like I have compassion for the people who lost their lives in New Orleans. I have compassion for the people who are going through horrible things. But I also understand that this is just happening within this sphere or this plane of existence. We can move beyond this. And we will move beyond this. Let's see. Last thing I'll read to you. Ideas of good and evil, gods and devils, salvation and damnation are merely symbols of deeper religious values, cosmic values, if you will, that cannot be translated into physical terms. These psychic entities are real, however. It is quite true to say that their reality consists not only of the core of their own identity, but also is reinforced by those projected thoughts and feelings of the earthly audience for whom the drama is enacted. Man identifies with the gods he has himself created. Man does not understand the magnificent quality of his own inventiveness and creative power. Say that gods and men create each other, and you come even closer to the truth, but only if you are very careful in your definitions. The attributes of the gods are those inherent within man himself, magnified, brought into powerful activity. Men believe that the gods live forever. Men live forever, but having forgotten this, they remember only to endow their gods with this characteristic. Think about that TV show that's based on a book called American Gods. If you don't, look it up on YouTube or whatever and see what the premise of that show is. Is basically that human beings are the ones that create these gods, so to speak. And it is our belief in them, the energy that we put into it, that gives them power. So if you believe something has power over you, then it will be so. There's a story of Jesus out walking on water, and one of the disciples gets out and is walking on water with him. And he's out there walking on water, and he's like, oh shit, wait a second, I can't walk on water. And as soon as he says that, that's when he sinks. Because he believed it to be real, that became his reality. There are people in this world who call themselves, powerful people who know that. So they try to control what you think. You're connected to more than that. It's getting late. I gotta get up early in the morning. I appreciate you guys tuning in. So I'm gonna leave us with some more tunes, some music that I made. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you aren't subscribed, and welcome to 2025. Peace.